Will it let you unmute now, Rose?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to introduce you. Sorry about that. Say your name for me because I'm not sure I'm saying your last name right.
RoseChipo.
Okay, I'm not going to say it. This is Rose, and she is called the Barefoot Hiker. And she said I had sore feet climbing Schiehallion Mountain. Is that right?
Schiehallion.
In Scotland.
Schiehallion
Mountain in Scotland, and she took off her boots and walked in her socks, ducking cow poop for the last hour of the journey. And her friend called her the Barefoot Hiker. But Rose is a career transition coach who helps overworked and stressed healthcare professionals transition into business by channeling their passions so they can gain time and financial freedom. Wow, that sounds really good. Okay, it's just a little bit early, but we're going to go ahead and give the floor to Rose. So there you go.
Thank you. Have you ever been in a place where the rug that was underneath your feet was suddenly yanked from you? Let me take you back to spring of 2013, and I'm sitting in the center of Glasgow in an office that is on the 5th floor. In front of me is a large mahogany table. Across from me is a large office chair, his chair. And to the left, I can see workmen through the window on their scaffolding. And from the street below, I can hear traffic and the occasional horn of somebody's car. So I look to my right, and there he comes. He's dressed in a navy blue suit, light blue shirt and a stripy tie. His jet black hair is combed right back, and his glasses are sitting on the edge of his nose as usual. He strides purposefully into the office. His eyes on an envelope that is on the table that has got his name. As he sits down, he sits back as if to survey me and to look at me properly. Rosemary, I called you here because I'm not happy. I've seen your resignation letter. You've only been back to work these past 2 weeks. What do you mean by resigning when you've not even given it a chance? He reminds me of my headmaster, and suddenly I feel very nervous. And I try to explain to him how I'd say to him I couldn't make it back to work yet after a 6-week break. I was still struggling with my mental health. I was on medication and having counseling, but he wanted me back because the company also helped other companies to cut down on their sickness. And my being off sick for that long was messing the numbers for the company. Well, Rosemary, you've been off for 6 weeks, you've had counseling, you've had all the help, and you've been paid all that time. I'm not expecting you to stay at home. I'm expecting you to be back at work. I tried my best to explain to him, but this man was not listening. And that was my boss. He wasn't happy with me. He wanted me just to be back so that his books would balance. For him, I was just a number sitting in front of him. I was not a person. I didn't have any feelings. Even though he couldn't see a bandage that was blood-stained to show that I was really unwell, but he did not appreciate that I was really struggling. So I decided that that was the time for me to leave my job, even though it felt like I was coming from the fire, from the frying pan to the fire. But I'd been in this frying pan for too long, and I'd been tossed up and down, and I'd felt the heat, and I was done. So 7 days later, I resigned from my job. And I would want to say to you, everything was fine when I was at home and no longer working, but it wasn't. Things were really hard, but I was determined that I would make something of this. I was determined because I knew I had hit rock bottom. You see, whenever I went to see my GP and he would say to me, "Are you still taking your medication?" I would say, "No, I'm not taking medication." And when he asked me why, I would say to him, "Doctor, Africans don't get depression. This is alien land. I've never seen it before in my family. I've not seen it with my friends. It's very real, but it's also very alien and very strange." I'm a woman of faith. So at that time I was praying, but at the same time, I was going through a divorce, and there was mixed with it all the shame of having been in Christian leadership and having a failed marriage and work-related stress. So I felt like I'd really reached the end of my tether. But what I like about Jesus is that when you come to the end of your tether, you find him waiting at the end of your tether, when you come to the end of yourself. And that's what happened. And little by little, I started to gain strength in my spirit, first and foremost. I had to use alarms to remind me to eat, because if I didn't do that, sometimes on a certain day, it will be 5 p.m. in the evening and I've not eaten anything. And I wonder, where did the time go? I wouldn't be busy doing any housework or anything, but I'll just be sitting there and suddenly it's 5 p.m. in the evening. But I want to thank God that he was my rock and he was my strength, because everything I'd known had been taken away and I was left alone in the house. But God never left me, because he says, "I'll never leave you and I'll never forsake you." So I believe you cannot have real courage apart from God. Real courage comes from the Lord, because no matter where we go, no matter how low we go, Jesus has gone lower, because he went to the pit of hell and he has been resurrected to the highest place as well. So there's no breadth, there's no length that he has not experienced that we can ever experience. So fast forward 3 months later, a friend invited me to go for a conference in Israel. It was an international conference for intercessors. I wasn't feeling at my best, but I knew that's probably the place I need to be. There was a lot of worship, dance, and music, but there were also workshops for politicians, workshops for business, for dance, and for other things. And we chose a workshop for business. And the late Dr. Miles Monroe was the one who was sharing in that meeting. And he shared something that ministered to me, even to this day, that put a passion in my spirit, that all these problems they tried to extinguish, that removed the wet blanket that the enemy had placed over my soul and pushed me down. And he said these words. He asked us when he started his talk, "Where do you think the richest place on earth is? Is it the diamond mines of South Africa? Is it Las Vegas? Is it Silicon Valley? The richest place on earth is the graveyard, because in the graveyard are books that were never written, songs that were never sung, and businesses that never took off, because those people died without realizing their God-given assignment. They went to the grave with the inventions that they had been given by God, which were to help them." That really touched my spirit. And that reminded me of the book of Acts about King David, because the Bible says about David, when David had finished the whole counsel of God in his generation, he slept with his fathers. So David did the whole counsel of God. Everything that God had meant for him to do and be, he did that. Not only that, we see Paul as well. He did it. He says, "I've run the race, I've kept the faith, and I've finished my course, and there's laid up for me a crown that the Lord Jesus will give to me and to all that love his coming." And Jesus on the cross, he said, "It is finished." So my encouragement to you today is, what is your life assignment? What is your God-given assignment? What's the invention that is on the inside of you? What is the business that is on the inside? What are the songs that you preach to people as you sing those songs that will touch people's hearts? Each of us has been given something, because God is not a respecter of persons. At the cross, it's a level playing field for everybody, no matter what country, no matter what color, what race you come from, what gender. Every one of us has been given greatness on the inside. And it's up to us to mine that greatness, because it comes in its raw form, like diamonds or like gold. It needs to be mined, and then it needs to be polished and served to our generation. So I want to say, God really helped me to come from a place of ashes to beauty. Not beauty on the outside, although that helps as well, but it's beauty of what he had placed on the inside of me. And my desire and my passion is to help other people like myself who have got work-related stress, who are working in a place that is sucking the life out of them, that have a job that they hate to go to. They can transition from that job, start off as a side hustle, and work at it and upskill and get help from other, like-minded people who are on the same race with them, and work together to have their own business. So that is what keeps me alive. That's what took away the shame of divorce. That took away that I didn't make it in my job. I believe my job was a passing place. It was never a place for me to stay forever. And I'm not against jobs at all, because a job is important, especially for a young person coming out of college, or even for an older person, because it teaches you the work ethics. It teaches you how to be a team player. It teaches you how to get up every day and to turn up every day, so that you are able to have that routine. It teaches you how to serve others, teaches you as well how to give and how to take in a place of being in a team and working with others. So I feel so passionate about this, that there's something of greatness on the inside, and you need to find that out and make it out into a service or a product that can help other people and get paid while you are doing that. So I just want to share with you, this is a framework I've created. It's still it's not the polished product, but it just takes you to show you step by step what it is I do when I help clients who are wanting to transition from where they are to where they need to go. I could tell you of Tasha, one of my clients. She trained as a lawyer, but her passion was music. And I had heard her sing even in conferences. I knew she was a good musician. So with coaching, she was able to use music as a side hustle, take some students on and train them in music. And when they graduated after the first semester, I was like a mama bear, really happy for her. And I've watched how she has progressed. And one of the things she said to me was, people at my workplace have said, you have changed. There's something in you that has changed. And I believe it's because she's now busy with a passion that lights up her life. So there's a difference in her because she's using what God gave her to help other people. So I'd just like to share with you my framework. If I can have a screen share, please.
Okay, you should be able to click on the green square in the middle of the page at the bottom. Do you see that?
I think you need to give me permission. It says host has disabled screen sharing. So you need to give me permission.
I will find out how to do that.
Okay.
Nope, that's not it. How do I get that off of there?
If not, I can just share without the screen
Okay.
share. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
No, you should be able to do it now. If I can figure out how to get rid of mine, there's stop share. Okay. Now you should be able to. There we go.
Okay, my light is shining in my eyes. Let me see.
That's something.
So the formula that I've created is called the Profitable Passion Formula. And this is helping somebody to work in their area of strength or in their sweet spot, doing what they love to do. So it consists of, I touched my screen, sorry. It consists of 7 elements. The first of this is to appraise. So what do I mean by appraise? It just means that you take stock of where you are and find out, why is this job really stressing me? What's happening in the job that I don't like? For example, you could be somebody who loves working with people, but you don't like the paperwork. So when you create your own business, you know what to make less of, or to even get rid of completely, and maybe make it online so there's no paperwork. The next thing is to adjust, next step. So once you know what's working and what's serving you, then you drop what's not working, and then you pick up what's working and increase on that. After that, you need to know who your audience is. Who is it that I serve? We all know, I think, that you cannot serve everybody. There wouldn't be enough hours in the day to try and do that. And trying to serve everybody as well, you know, it blunts our cutting edge. So you need to know, who is it that I find has got a problem that I feel and I sense that I've got a solution for. After that, then you assemble your content after doing your research. Now you assemble content. Without assembling content, obviously you can't save them, but with the content you can. And after that, it's assess. You need an individual viewpoint from somebody who is in the same business, who understands what you're doing, so that they can look at your blind spots and sharpen this business model that you have come up with. After that, it's access. We need to know, people need to know who you are, where you are, and how you serve them. So that's more like your marketing. And finally, it's accelerate. I'll just move this because it's in the way. Is to accelerate your business. So you can start off with serving, let's say you were coaching, you could start one-to-one coaching, but you can go on to do one-to-many and even more, you know, like getting other people to come on that you can be in a team together with. So I know I don't have much time, so I'm hoping I'm not going too fast, but I'm aware that my time is it's limited. So our clients, they appraise using what we call the simple diagnosis steps. And this is a 4-step process, which just shows you what your starting point is. I think you may have been in a large building with many offices and corridors, and there's a map in the foyer which says you are here. So this is more like your spot to say you are here, or even when you are planning your journey, you have your starting point. So this helps people with where they are and where they are starting off. And they adjust by using the personal shine process. And this is looking at what brings light and what makes your life come alive. What is it that puts light in your eyes, that puts a smile on your face, that helps you to when you wake up in the morning, you are excited about work because you're working on your own passion. So it's also a 4-step process, looks at what you love to do and also the skills that you have gained in life that are transferable to be used in business. And next is the clear customer investigator, and that is your market research to look at your audience, to find out what are their pain points, what is it that they struggle with, what keeps them awake, what wakes them up at 3 a.m. in the morning, where are they running, what makes them sigh, and what patients. Then you look up what's the gap that is there, which is stopping them from getting from where they are to where they need to go. And that's when your business or product becomes the bridge that they help to cross over to where they need to go. So the confident content creator, you become confident because you've done your market research. You're not creating a business that fulfills you, but you're building a business that is an answer to somebody's problem and to somebody's cry. And then this sense check skills analysis, like I said, you need somebody else to help you in polishing this business. In other words, getting rid of the dross, getting rid of the flaws, and just having a business that can stand up, that can rise above the noise to be seen and to be heard. And then for marketing, it's the impactful reach route. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. How do people reach you? How do they access you? How do they get to know you? And also in this area, we look at what is your influential voice? Because for some people, they are coaches, others are trainers, others are public speakers, others are authors. So it's to find out what is your impactful voice. What is it that you feel when you do it? You find that there's transformation in other people. I'll just see if I can move this. I don't know if this is covering this for you as well as for me. I'll just minimize that. Yeah. So lastly is the automatic multiplier method. And that is using technology, leveraging the use of technology, using teams, and also training your teams so that they work in the business while you work on the business. And that helps your business to grow because you're wanting your passion to be profitable. Because if it's not profitable, it just becomes an expensive hobby. And that will keep you in that job, which is really not serving you at the moment. But as this side hustle grows, eventually you'll be able to move from your job and be a full-fledged business person. So in short, that is the profitable passion formula. I apologize for the speed that I've gone at, but I'm aware that there are other people behind me to speak. Thank you.
Oh, that was great. Thank you so much, Rose. I've got a timer set here and it was perfect timing. So I put in the chat if anybody has any questions. I did have a couple of questions that came up before Rose spoke from earlier. So one of the questions is, Rose, how can I be sure what my passion is?
So how you can know what your passion is, it's the things you keep doing. For example, you could have a group of friends and you find that you're always finding that you can solve a certain problem in your friends. It could be they are having marriage problems and you seem to always have an idea or a solution to what they are going through. So that can be a pointer to you. But not only that, it's also looking at what you used to love to do. I remember I was talking to one gentleman. He was quite educated. He had a couple of degrees in his belt, but he was struggling to really find out what his passion was. So after trying for some time, we just couldn't get some leeway. And then eventually I said to him, when you were young, before anybody told you you couldn't do something or you couldn't do things, what did you love to do? Then for him, the light bulb came on, and he said, I always used to love watching this CID program. And I've always, throughout my life, even though I went to uni, or to, we call it university in UK, or to college, because my parents wanted me to take that route, but that wasn't the route he wanted to take. He wanted to be in the CID. So he says when he was young, his parents would always call him and say, your program is on, and you take his little chair and watch that program. He never missed it. And that was God showing him the passion, because when we are young, we have faith, we have no prejudices. We are like, we are raw in our, and that is good, because that's our God-given state. I hope that has answered the question.
That's great. Okay, we do have time for another question. So how do I keep on track as a startup entrepreneur? That's a really good question.
So yeah, entrepreneurship is an adventure. It's exciting, but it's not a walk in the park. It's not easy, but it's doable. So there are certain things that you could do to help. So having a coach or a mentor, because when you have a coach or mentor, you have somebody who has done this before, and they can handhold you and help you. So usually when you have a coach, there are three things that a coach does. So they support you, they encourage you, and they also hold you accountable. I had a coach who used to like to call it SEA. So support, encouragement, and accountability. I don't know for others, for me, when I'm having visitors, I need to make sure the house is tidy, and I put out my lovely whatever bowls for the visitors coming. There's something about somebody being there with you that makes you want to be your best.
Well, that's wonderful. Let's give Rose some love in the chat area. And thank you so much, Rose. That was beautiful. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you asked to be a speaker. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.